Halloween show you were doing?
Van Helsing's Curse. Did that a few years ago. Put out an album called Oculus Infernum. Critically acclaimed. People who've discovered it, love it. It's cool music for Halloween. And I'm hoping to restart that sometime in the future as well. We've been dark for the past few Halloweens.
Right.
But I'm hoping, it's an exciting, different. It's like Trans-Siberian Orchestra on steroids. You know what I mean? That's what it is. So that's pretty cool. Twisted Sister, we do festival shows usually in the summer. I'm getting ready to go out with them, doing stuff like that. Even toying with the idea of a duets album with Alice Cooper.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and it's actually got. I can't tell you. It's got a little curveball in there, like what kind of duets album. He and I did a little demo for ourselves, and it came out so great that we just we're working on developing into a full-blown.
Well, he's such a versatile guy. I mean, besides the Alice Cooper type stuff that he's done, your typical Cooper stuff. I mean, you go back to the kind of the '80s style of singing that he did. Sort of that new wave style. I mean, he's got a great voice. And he's a versatile guy.
He's iconic. He's an iconic voice more than anything. Yeah. I don't know if you call it great. It's
okay, well, I think he's great for what he's doing.
Alice Cooper's my main inspiration. He's one of my main. I'm just saying there were people who are singers and there were people who are stylists. And Alice, like Lou Reed, and he's one of these singers that's got a style, that's got that, that thing going. I mean, and like I said, it lit my world up. And so he's kind of like the lower octave, and I'm doing the upper octave, doing
I got you. Well, you were talking about him being your idol or one of your inspirations
Sure.
starting out. So I'm assuming that his stage show probably, the whole theatrics on stage probably inspired you with a lot of the makeup and hair and everything.
Oh yeah. Certainly. I mean, Alice Cooper, and the whole original glitter rock movement of the early '70s changed my life. But Alice was a huge influence. So to be friends with Alice now and to be working on a project with him I got to pinch myself some days.
Like a little kid. Speaking of little kid, were you a monster kid? Were you a big horror fan as a kid, or?
More as a teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, not as a little kid, I was hiding under the bed.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of like one of those things, embrace your fears, And then, of course, I got into horror. And I think in the big 70s is when I really started to just say, I can't get enough of this.
The Chainsaw Massacre type movies.
Yeah, the chainsaws and the Night of the Living Deads and the Dawn of the Dead and the Freddys and the Jasons and all that kind of stuff like that. And then I guess it was the early '90s when I think the whole scene fell apart with the birth of the Chuckies and the Leprechauns and to me that's when I got inspired to start saying, well, if don't just sit there and say this sucks. Try and do something, say this sucks, but this is what I got for you. And that's when the whole Strangeland thing came together. Captain Howdy, which I'm hoping will eventually become an iconic figure because he is, he takes from the old school when people were scary.
Yeah.
He didn't love Michael Myers. He wasn't warm and cuddly. There was nothing likable about Jason Voorhees. Nothing. Right. Freddie got after a while got into his little charming Freddie thing, but I like bad guys who were bad.
A horror movie.
Yeah. So I'm hoping with Strangeland Disciple that this will help to establish Captain Howdy as an iconic horror figure.
Yeah, very well could. Let me ask you one quick thing. How did the Pee Wee the video that you had in the Pee Wee's
Big Adventure? Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't know. The older ones will, that when Pee Wee started out, he was even though he had that little like crazy little boy thing going on, his audience was like college crowd. He was on the college circuit, and I got turned on to him back in those days, I think it was Rodney Dangerfield's Young Comedians on HBO. So I was a fan of his stuff, and we ran into each other in like 1984. It was actually, as a matter of fact, it was New Year's Eve, 1985, that we were at an MTV party together. So we were hanging, talking. Hey, I'm a fan of yours. I'm a fan of yours. So a few months later, I was in California with Twisted and Iron Maiden doing 5 nights at the Long Beach Arena, and he was filming Pee Wee's Big Adventure, his first movie, which was again targeted for more of an old adult crowd.
Yeah, sure.
Kids got turned on to it. you know,
we got
yeah. Well, it was like you look at the Looney Tunes. They were originally designed as opening shorts for regular movies.
Right.
Adults would go see those,
Yeah.
but then kids got into the slapstick. But anyway, Tim Burton directed Pee Wee's Big Adventure, right. So he asked me if we do a cameo. And my favorite thing about it was, so Pee Wee said, "So will you do a cameo?" Yeah, I figure you guys are doing a rock video, and I come riding through. So so I'm like, rock video. So I said, "So what song you want?" "We're not gonna take it. I want a rock." He goes, "No, Burn in Hell."
Awesome.
And I was like, "Yeah, Pee Wee!"
Yeah. I got to tell you a story about Burning Hell. When I was a kid, I was driving around. Say kid, I was in college years, so I totally was getting it. Yeah, a kid. I was driving along in my car, windows down. I pull up to a red light. I had cassette. I was rocking your cassette. Pull up, and here's these two old ladies in the car next to me. And right as I pull up, "You're gonna burn in hell!" starts blasting. They looked at me, like I was the devil himself. It was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, Dee, hey man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Likewise.
And hope you enjoy the rest of your time here in Nashville.
Yeah, man, and watch out for Stranger Than Disciple, Growing Up Twisted, and everything else I'm working on. There's so many things, books.
Where can they find you on the web?
On the web, go to DeeSnider.com. Remember, Snider's an adjective, not a proper noun. I'm Snider than you are. That's Snider with an I. So.
All right. Stay twisted, Fright fans.
Yeah.